Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński, and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Overnight, Russian forces launched 75 drones at Ukraine, according to Ukraine's Air Force. Military officials say 26 of them hit 6 different locations. Local authorities report that railway infrastructure in the Poltava region came under attack, sparking fires that were quickly extinguished. One person was injured, and the National Rail Company said the strikes caused train delays. It was the second night in a row that Russian forces targeted Ukraine's civilian rail system. A day earlier, 6 people were wounded in Poltava when a drone hit a gas station. In the Kiev region, another Russian strike set fire to warehouse facilities. Officials say the blaze was contained and no casualties were reported. Meanwhile, Russian authorities claimed they faced a massive Ukrainian drone attack on the Volgograd region. Falling debris shattered windows and damaged the roofs of 2 private homes, though no injuries were reported. Residents also said Ukrainian drones may have targeted a Lukoil facility in Volgograd itself, which supplies fuel to the Russian military. Witnesses described hearing dozens of explosions. Now, on the front line, Ukrainian defense forces say they have flooded a gas pipeline running beneath the Oskil River in the Kharkiv region. According to commanders in the area, Russian troops had been using the pipeline to cross into the city of Kupiansk. Ukrainian forces discovered the route and disabled it, though they warned Russia may try to restore access once again. Elsewhere, Russian troops continue advancing in Pokrovsk and on the eastern outskirts of Myrnograd. Heavy fighting is also underway along the Pokrovsk-Dobropilya highway, while Ukrainian forces report a successful counterattack northeast of Myrnograd. Meanwhile, a senior Russian officer, Valery Gerasimov, toured positions held by his troops in Ukraine and said Moscow's forces were advancing on all fronts. He said the heaviest fighting between Russian and Ukrainian troops was taking place around the logistics center of Pokrovsk and at the center of the Kupiansk region. In turn, none of the existing objective control maps of Deep State and other analysts of the situation on the front line actually confirm that Russian troops who actually approached the northern outskirts of Kupiansk were able to capture any significant territory of the city, which was virtually destroyed in the course of the fighting. In Konstantinivka, Ukrainian volunteers are implementing innovative approaches to counter enemy drones. They use a special detector that allows them to track the signal and even intercept video feeds from Russian FPV drones. Now, thanks to this technology, they can see in real time what the enemy drone's camera is broadcasting. This makes it possible to warn of a possible attack, determine the trajectory of the device's flight, and respond to the threat before it even gets close to the target. Such solutions are the result of cooperation between technical specialists and volunteer initiatives that seek to protect the Ukrainian military and civilians as much as possible from the terror of Russian kamikaze drones.
Ага, вижу дом, где мы находимся. Чи заглушил рэп, походу, его, чи шо?
Хуже на то, падает.
Падает. Да, упал. Ха! Класс!
In recent weeks, Russian media and Telegram channels have reported the creation of a flight unit to intercept long-range drones using light training and sports aircraft, mainly Yak-52 and Yak-18T. Now, this is clearly an imitation of tactics previously successfully used by Ukrainian crews on similar aircraft. According to reports, the first detachments are already operating as small flying units, performing the task of detecting and intercepting large numbers of slow, low-altitude strike drones. Several sources mention that the detachment currently has about 6 aircraft with the prospect of expansion. Some of the machines were allegedly purchased or donated by benefactors, which again is an imitation of tactics used by Ukrainians, because Ukrainians have often been resorting to the power of crowdfunding. So of course it remains to be seen whether in the Russian society, which is much less free and much less willing to operate voluntarily, the same thing is going to work on such an extensive basis as it did in Ukraine. Anyway, let's take a look at the video. Footage from the Ukrainian National Guard reconnaissance team's GoPro camera, filmed in April of 2025, gives a vivid picture of the mundane nature of operations that rarely make the headlines. The video shows a search and rescue operation in an area recently stormed by Russian units. Fragments of trenches, burned out farmyards, scattered ammunition, and the task for the scouts to find scattered enemy groups and eliminate the threat in order to make Ukrainian land safe for those who remain and to regain control over each settlement step by step. This, of course, is the daily reality of the life of Ukrainian troops, but we often actually focus on breakthrough events, like, a special type of military equipment being deployed for the first time, or the first time a given type of gear was actually intercepted or destroyed. However, the most important thing for any soldier is actually, not these headline-grabbing events. It's the daily grind of war. It is being able to survive and to achieve success. And we'll be taking a look at just such a situation, at a day in the life of this Ukrainian unit.
Направо сразу.
Подвал справа, бачите?
Я знаю, да. Садик, бери оцей кирпічний дом, коротше, в якого криша дирява. Поняв? Не яка красна, а яка дирява. Плюс. Що, двоєчка просто? Я взяв ліво. Закріпились, можна перебігати.
Опа. Давай, пішов перший.
Чесно.
Чесно.
Да, починаємо. В подвал. Що там є хтось? Одна.
Військових бачили?
Ви тут самі?
Взагалі не бачили, так?
And in a way, this clip is really sad because it actually shows the shattered remnants of someone else's lives, people who lived in that village until war actually caught up with them and left everything shattered. Also, you might be asking a very pertinent question. Why are you showing a clip from spring if it's fall already? And we've mentioned that already at one point before, but let me just reiterate. Sometimes these videos will only appear a few months later. Why? Because if the front line is not really moving this way or the other, Publishing this immediately would have revealed the position of your troops, or would have disclosed the way they operate in the given area. So you don't want that. You want to wait a bit, and only after the operation has ended, you can actually show it to the public without any threat or any risk to the safety of your soldiers. And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news, updates, and commentary.